Harlem, June 14th, 1972, 3:30 p.m. Officer James Mitchell, 23 years old, 3 months out of the police academy, walking his beat on 125th Street. The sun is hot. The street is crowded. Mitchell is young, eager, wants to prove himself, wants to make his first real arrest. In 30 seconds, he's going to make the biggest mistake of his young career. And in the 5 minutes after that, Frank Matthews is going to teach him a lesson that will turn that mistake into the foundation of a 30-year career as one of New York's best detectives. This is the story of what happens when inexperience meets intelligence, when authority meets real power, and when one conversation changes everything. To understand what happened that afternoon, you need to know who Officer James Mitchell was, fresh from the academy, top of his class in physical fitness, good marks in law, but zero street experience. Mitchell had grown up in Queens, middle-class neighborhood, went to college, joined the force because he genuinely wanted to help people. Noble intentions. But nobility without wisdom is dangerous, especially in Harlem in 1972. Mitchell's training officers had shown him photos, wanted individuals, known criminals. Be aware, stay alert, report anything suspicious. One face, Mitchell remembered clearly. Frank Matthews. Black male, 26, known drug dealer, wanted for questioning in multiple investigations. The photo showed Matthews in a suit, looking calm, composed, intelligent. "This guy's slippery," Mitchell's sergeant had said. "Nobody's been able to make anything stick. If you ever see him, call it in. Don't approach alone." But here's where it gets truly shocking. On that June afternoon, Mitchell wasn't thinking about his sergeant's warning. He was thinking about making detective, about moving up, about proving he wasn't just another rookie. So when he saw Frank Matthews step out of a black Cadillac on 125th Street, well-dressed, confident, surrounded by 3 men, Mitchell made a decision. He decided to be a hero. Matthews was wearing a sharp gray suit, sunglasses, looking every bit the successful businessman. He was smiling, talking to his associates, completely relaxed. Mitchell's heart started racing. This was it, his first big arrest, the guy every cop in the precinct wanted to bring in. And Mitchell had just spotted him in broad daylight. He didn't call for backup, didn't radio it in. He just started walking toward Matthews, hand moving instinctively toward his service weapon. Matthews saw him coming. You don't survive in that world without being aware of everything around you. Matthews watched this young cop approaching, saw the determination in his walk, the nervous energy, the hand near the gun. Matthews knew exactly what was about to happen. He stopped walking. His 3 associates stopped too, hands moving toward their own weapons. The street, crowded with at least 30 people, suddenly went quiet. Conversations stopped. People turned to look. Everyone sensed what was coming. Mitchell reached Matthews, stood 3 feet away. His training said, announce yourself clearly, maintain authority, control the situation. "Sir," Mitchell said, trying to keep his voice steady, "I'm Officer Mitchell, NYPD. I need you to come with me to the station. We have questions regarding..." Matthews raised one hand. Not threatening, just a gentle gesture that said stop. And Mitchell, despite his authority, despite his badge and gun, stopped talking. Wait, don't miss this detail. Because what Frank Matthews did in the next 60 seconds taught Officer Mitchell more about real policing than 6 months at the academy ever could. Matthews didn't run, didn't resist, didn't reach for anything. He just looked at this young cop, really looked at him, reading him like a book. Then Matthews did something unexpected. He smiled, not mocking, not condescending, just a slight knowing smile. And then he spoke, loud enough that everyone on the street could hear. "Officer," Matthews said, his voice calm and respectful, "I appreciate you doing your job. That takes courage. I respect that." He paused. Let those words sink in. The 30 people watching were dead silent. Mitchell stood there confused because nothing about this was going how he expected. "I'll come with you willingly," Matthews continued. "No trouble, no resistance. But before we go, can we walk past that bodega on the corner? Let people see me cooperating with you. Let them see I'm not causing problems. That fair?" Mitchell nodded, still confused, but trying to maintain control. So they started walking, Matthews in front, Mitchell 3 feet behind, right hand still near his weapon. Matthews's 3 associates followed at a distance, hands visible, non-threatening. They walked slowly down 125th Street, 30 pairs of eyes watching every step. It was the longest walk of Mitchell's life. And then Matthews started talking, quietly, just loud enough for Mitchell to hear. "Officer Mitchell," Matthews said, using his name, which Mitchell hadn't even realized Matthews had heard. "Can I give you some advice? Man to man, not criminal to cop, just human to human?" Mitchell didn't respond, but Matthews continued anyway. "You just tried to arrest me in the middle of 125th Street in front of 30 witnesses without backup, without calling it in, without knowing if I was armed or if my friends behind us were armed. You put your hand near your gun, which means you were thinking about drawing it in front of civilians, women, children. You did all that because you wanted to be a hero." They kept walking. Mitchell's face was getting hot, because even in his inexperience, he knew Matthews was right. Matthews continued, "Here's what you didn't know. I wasn't armed. I never carry weapons. That's what lawyers are for. But you didn't know that. My friends behind us, 2 of them are armed. You didn't check that either. If you'd drawn your weapon, if this had gone wrong, someone could have been hurt. Not just you or me, someone innocent." They reached the corner. Matthews stopped, turned to face Mitchell. "You got balls, kid, I respect that. But balls without brains get people killed." Then Matthews said something that hit Mitchell harder than any punch ever could. "You want to be a good cop? Then be smart. Don't try to be Serpico on day 1. Call for backup. Know your target, know the situation, know the risks, because the streets will teach you that lesson one way or another. Today, I'm teaching you gentle. Tomorrow, someone else might teach you hard. You get one lesson like this in your life, Officer Mitchell. Don't waste it." Mitchell stood there speechless as Matthews continued. "Now, you said you need to take me to the station. I'll walk in with you. My lawyer will be there in 20 minutes. I'll answer questions, then I'll leave, because you don't have a warrant and you can't hold me. But here's the important part. We're going to walk in that station together, and everyone will see you bringing me in. You'll get credit. You'll look good. And in exchange, you're going to learn from this. You're going to become the kind of cop who thinks before he acts. You're going to remember this day. Deal?" They walked into the 32nd precinct together. Frank Matthews, hands visible, cooperative, calm. Officer James Mitchell, 3 months on the force, looking like he'd just brought in a major target. Matthews's lawyer arrived 18 minutes later. Matthews answered questions for exactly 45 minutes, gave nothing useful, and walked out. But before he left, he walked past Mitchell's desk, leaned down, and said something only Mitchell heard. "You're going to be a good cop, Mitchell. I can see it. Just remember today." Here's what happened next. Mitchell went home that night and couldn't sleep. He kept replaying Matthews's words. The next day, he requested a meeting with his sergeant. He confessed everything. The lack of backup, the poor planning, the reckless approach. He expected to be reprimanded. Instead, his sergeant said something surprising. "Mitchell, most cops never learn that lesson. The ones who do usually learn it the hard way. You learned it from Frank Matthews, and you're still alive. That's rare. Use it." Mitchell did. He became obsessive about preparation. Before every call, every stop, every interaction, he thought through scenarios. What could go wrong? Who might be armed? Where's my backup? What's the safest approach? He went from being an eager rookie to being a careful strategic officer. His career transformed. Over the next 5 years, Mitchell made more than 200 arrests. Not one resulted in civilian injury. Not one resulted in officer injury. Not one resulted in a lawsuit. His record was spotless because he approached every situation with intelligence, not just authority. In 1977, at age 28, James Mitchell became one of the youngest detectives in NYPD history. By 1985, he was investigating major organized crime. By 1995, he was teaching at the police academy, and his first lesson to every rookie class was always the same. Let me tell you about the day I tried to arrest Frank Matthews. But here's what made this story legendary within the NYPD. In 1989, Detective Mitchell was investigating a major drug operation. Multiple agencies involved, millions of dollars, dozens of suspects. During the investigation, he got a tip about a meeting location. He planned the raid carefully. Backup positioned, entry points secured, timing perfect. When they breached, they arrested 15 people without firing a single shot. No injuries, no casualties, perfect execution. Later, one of the suspects, a career criminal with nothing to lose, told Mitchell something surprising. You know why nobody fought back today? Because word on the street is, you're the cop who Frank Matthews taught. Real recognize real. You came in smart, not cowboy. We respected that. Mitchell never forgot that moment. The lesson Matthews taught him on 125th Street in 1972 had literally saved lives 17 years later. Mitchell retired from the NYPD in 2002 after 30 years of service. Over 300 arrests, 0 officer-involved shootings, 0 civilian casualties, multiple commendations. And when reporters asked him about his success, he always told the same story. June 14th, 1972. Frank Matthews could have made me look like a fool, could have run, resisted, made my life hell. Instead, he taught me the most important lesson of my career. Being right isn't enough. You have to be smart. This is what people miss about Frank Matthews. They see the drug kingpin, the man who outsmarted the mafia and vanished with millions. But they miss moments like this. Moments where Matthews had every reason to humiliate a young cop, to flex his power, to make an enemy. Instead, he chose to teach, to show respect, to turn a potential confrontation into a lesson that would shape a career and save lives for 3 decades. So remember this, June 14th, 1972, 3:30 p.m., Harlem. A rookie cop named James Mitchell tried to arrest Frank Matthews without backup, without planning, without thinking. And Frank Matthews, instead of destroying that young cop's career, saved it. Because real power isn't about dominance. It's about wisdom. It's about seeing potential in someone and helping them realize it. It's about teaching lessons that last 30 years. That's who Frank Matthews was. That's why he became a legend.